Well, welcome to the Seven Figure Boss Podcast. I am so excited today, and I'm also so excited to be able to bring this sister in today and to be able to ask my sister Dianne Pearltech some questions on not only her business but also her life and her mindset. We all know in order for us to be able to achieve anything in life, y'all know what I'm always talking about. You got to be able to control that stinking thinking. So, without further ado, let me bring this sister to the stage. Well, hello, beautiful. How are you?
Good, good. Hello. What an awesome introduction. I'm so pumped.
Thank you for coming today. So, you know what? I'm just going to let you go ahead, take over. Let our audience know some things about you that the audience may not even know.
Yep, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for the platform. I have so many different layers, but I like to try to summarize it into a couple of key components that are important to me. So, first off, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a tech and IT consulting company focused on cybersecurity consulting. I also am a real estate investor and I focus on commercial real estate investing. I am very passionate about philanthropy. So, I sit on the board of a couple of organizations, and one of the ones that's near and dear to my heart is providing feminine hygiene products to girls in my village in Kenya. I go
Oh,
back to Kenya
wow.
at least twice a year, and I coordinate a program where they receive their products whenever I'm back there. And then just on a social on a social basis, I enjoy golfing. I'm not very good at it, but I'm good enough. I always make ball contact. I also love salsa dancing and bachata specifically. And what else? I think those are the key components I like to cover. And I'm based in Texas right now, but who knows where I'll be tomorrow because I love traveling and moving around.
Amen. I love it. So, what actually had you start the whole thing with, collecting, items for women and young girls?
It was an initiative that a lady approached me when I was visiting the village. My family and I go back every year and into the village where we're originally from. And a lady approached me because she knew I was based in the States. Word travels really fast around there. So she knew I was based here. And she mentioned to me that sometimes not having access to hygiene products stopped her from being able to go to work where she's a fisher. She has to go into the water and fish. And if she's on her monthly menses, she can't afford to waste her towels, so she'll choose not to go into work. So obviously, we've heard about girls not being able to go to class if they don't have access because they get mistreated. They'll be laughed at. Sometimes teachers have actually told them off for coming and bleeding out in class. So I wanted to be able to provide them that avenue economically and just for their human dignity.
Wow, girl, that is like, it got me over here speechless. It's so beautiful. And to be able to think about somebody else, I've never, ever heard of a program for women. I've always heard about hygiene products for young girls because it's keeping them out of school and things, but I've never heard about them for grown women. I think that that's so amazing. So, how long have you lived in Texas?
Of about, ooh, I'd say about 14 years now. I've lived between Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. Spent the most time in Houston, but I'm based in San Antonio now for the last 1 year. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So, I look at how you're, girl, you like the jack of all trades. Not only are you liking this whole IT tech security, cyber security thing, but you're also a commercial real estate investor, which is dominated by men.
Yes.
So, so what made you say, you know what? I want to be a commercial real estate investor.
Oh, okay. So I used to partner with someone who was focused on residential real estate investing, and when we parted ways, um, I knew that I wanted to continue investing in real estate, but I knew that I wanted to take big swings. I wanted to scale up faster, and I also didn't want to our paths to keep crossing, so I had to be creative about another avenue, and I just took a leap of faith, and I call it training through my trauma. I just was like, okay, it was kind of a trauma response to an unpleasant situation. What do I do? Let me scale up, let me level up. So that's how I I got into the field, and yes, it's very male dominated, but I'm still within my comfort zone because tech is the same way, cybersecurity is the same way.
Yes, it is. That whole computer world, you very rarely, especially see women of color.
Yes.
So,
Right.
yeah, I take off. So, why do you think you chose two areas that are dominated by men? Is something in that space why you jumped into two challenging areas and you good at it?
Thank you. You're right. um, Well, first of all, my career choice in tech was influenced by growing up in a developing country where I didn't see a lot of successful people around. I just saw people barely making it through the day and to get to their bills. My parents, I grew up with both my parents, and they worked very hard and they had very prestigious careers, but at the end of the day, didn't have much in their bank account to cover the monthly bills. So I always knew I really had to hit the ground running when my time came. So came to America, and I was always told this is the land of opportunity, and I did just that. I embraced the opportunity and just went for it. So when I did my research of my interests versus what I could guarantee economic sustenance on, I found out that tech was a flourishing career, and that's how I just mapped out my career path.
Wow, that's interesting. So most people go after like, okay, my passion, but you said, you know what? I'm going to go after a career that can be very lucrative, that can provide me that lifestyle, because you're not only, we were talking about the money earlier, how yeah, it's money, but you are definitely using your money as a tool to bless other people. So just share, how has it impacted your life?
Um, having having a and I get not get I wouldn't say guaranteed, but having a comfortable income has allowed me to think outside the box about other areas that I could be of service. And like coming back to my passion of philanthropy, if your passion is philanthropy and you also have a career in philanthropy, a lot of times you will run out of resources to finance that passion. So I wanted to make sure that my pockets were good, my bills were paid, and I could actually focus genuinely on my passion without worrying about what was happening. And what's happened now as a result is I've been able to not only pour into philanthropic causes, I've also been able to support some of my family members. You know, I want to provide my dad with a very comfortable life now that he's in retirement years. So I'm able to provide that. If he want, you know, basically whatever my dad asks for, he can pretty much count on me and my three siblings to provide for him a comfortable life towards his, the tail end of his life, as well as just my hobbies. You know, just it's not always just about career, business, money, and all this. Sometimes you also have to leave some room for yourself. you grow through your passions, your hobbies, and other activities that contribute to your wellness. So golf is a very expensive sport. So is Latin dancing and taking classes to learn all that. All of that's expensive. And traveling. So just to be able to say, hey, today I feel a little bit down. I'd like to go and play a round of golf, and a round of golf might cost me $80 that day, depending on where I go. I can be thankful in saying that it's not going to be the top of my mind when I'm saying I want to go do that.
So did you always have this dream as a little girl? Because you know how we were talking about your topic, what's holding you back, and it's a lot of times where people will look at their current circumstances and they feel like that defines them or sum them up. So I'm looking at where you are today mentally. How did you get there, especially as a little girl?
Yeah. As a little girl, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And like nothing else, there was no other career that mattered to me at the time. I wanted to be a lawyer. And as I grew older, and when I came to the States to start picking my courses for my career, I started to understand what it was about law that I was attracted to. And it was having a voice and not being
Mm.
afraid to use my voice. So I could still channel that and focus on having a career that could pay my bills, but still have a voice on the side for the people that I care about, the groups that I cared about. So I have always seen myself being a voice and being a champion for human rights, but I didn't know that I would end up in the tech field or even as a real estate investor.
Wow. So what would you say probably was one of your biggest challenges or adversities that you've gone through?
It was coming to this country um, as a post-teen after high school to go to college and leaving behind all my friends in Africa,
Mm.
having to make new friends, and being in an environment where not a lot of people understood or were educated about where I was from. So I felt that it was a hostile start to my journey in this country, but I overcame that. But those first couple of years were really rough. I landed and I went to school in Mississippi, and I couldn't understand for the life of me why I had to keep explaining that English was the official language in my country, and had to keep shying away when people heard my accent because it was they would laugh at me and tease me. So that was very frustrating to deal with. Just the culture change, culture shock, and assimilating in this country.
Wow. So how was you able to deal with your fear and doubt?
I So over time, because my reality became that I was always going to be different everywhere I went, over time I had to recognize that different didn't mean bad. It wasn't a bad thing. Sometimes I would catch people calling me out for being different, but really admiring me, and they didn't know how to express their admiration. So I have to put on my big girl panties and accept that they're looking up to me, but they don't know. They're also insecure within themselves, so they don't know how to voice that admiration. So that's how I've had to overcome being different in every single setting, because I know that I'm enough. I know I'm qualified and I know
Mm.
I'm in the right room. And so if anybody else feels like they want to challenge me, I have to think more about, is it more on them? What's going on with them? How can I help? And if I can't help, I also have to I have to draw my boundaries if I know I can't help their insecurities.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So for people where they're new into real estate, right? They're wanting to get into it. Like me and my husband lately, we've been talking to my friend. She's actually, you're going to meet her girl, she's almost 200 mil deep in real estate. So I'm going to make sure that you and her connect. But She's phenomenal. She shared with us some little tips and tricks because a lot of times when we think about real estate or investing, especially commercially, it's intimidating.
Yep.
So, how did you get past that and go ahead and just say, you know what, I'm all in, I'm going to do it?
Whew. So I had help. I'm going to be honest. I had help from my partner at the time. He was so passionate about just this whole concept of flipping houses and making a big windfall and not having to go into the office every day to make the same amount of money.
Mm,
And I didn't believe enough in that dream because I had only seen the traditional way of making money, which was going into the office and taking home a paycheck on Fridays. So we were able to combine our heads and our skill sets and say, you can get into real estate and I can stay in corporate America. And if your idea fails, I have the job. And he said, that's fine. That's a good compromise. But will you accompany me to this workshop? It's free. And when I went to this free workshop and they drew out a plan of how this actually works, I tell you, I couldn't believe I had not done it sooner. It just made sense. And I was like, I couldn't, I could never get it out of my head from that day. And I said, at all costs, I have to get this education so I can get the foundation of this and just hit the ground and go.
yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is like your daily routine?
So I do remote consulting from my house. So I wake up and the first 2 hours, if I wake up at 5 or 6, my first 2 to 3 hours are for myself, whether that's just meditating, checking, personal messages. um,
Why is that such an important part of your day?
I don't like to just bolt up and go straight into my work day. It doesn't sit right with my spirit. If I just get up, my meetings start about 8 or 9 every day. I don't want to just wake up and just rush straight to that. I need to prepare my mind for the day. So I need time to myself. Just carve out time to myself to do what I want to do.
That
And
is one big key thing that I find with wealthy people. They always start off their day with a meditation. They just don't sprint out and say, you know what, I want to hurry up. Let me grab my coffee. Let me hurry up and go to work. It's a routine.
exactly. And and even that hurrying up to grab my coffee to go to work, I think it's been a blessing for me that I work from my own house, so I can I set up my space how I would like it to be. So even while the coffee could be brewing, I put on some music or I put on a meditation, or I can be walking around. I light my candles all over my house. That's what I do first thing as well. I light my candles. I can just be moving around doing what I'd like to do, not rushing through traffic to get to the office. It's definitely a blessing. Not everyone can afford to be in this situation, and this has not always been the case for me, but I devised it that way to where I wanted to get get a hold of contracts that allowed me to work from home. So, yeah.
Nice. So, what would you say to people that they're dealing with, you know, life
Yeah. Um,
and they're like, I'm living from paycheck to paycheck,
yeah.
or they may be in the position of that they're homeless.
Yeah.
How do you speak to that person?
So I'll say this, I was technically homeless coming from my actual home to come here and figure out what to do. I did manage to live with family until I was able to get into my own place. But here's what I say. Number one, the most important thing is mindset. That's
Mm,
the single most important thing. Mindset. What does your mind tell you you can do? Where is your mind? Where do you want to be? You have to talk to yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to flip that switch for yourself. I cannot do it for anyone. Nobody can do it for anyone. You might be able to draw inspiration from mindset coaches or anyone that you look up to. But at the end of the day, the person to flip the switch is going to be you upstairs. So you have to have the right mindset to be able to move into the next stages, the tactical steps of some of us work out, some of us, go to church, some of us set goals, financial goals. We need to save for a down payment. All of that stuff, all those goals that you set, they have to be preceded by your mindset, the right mindset. If you tell yourself, I can't save enough for a down payment, well, guess what? You will not be able to save for a down payment on a
Come
house.
on now.
You will not. If you tell yourself, I um I cannot get this job, I can't get to that income, you will never. But if you tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself and you get into the right mindset, and then you tell yourself by October 31st, I am going to get this
Amen.
certification so that I can get into this job that will improve my income. Once I have a better income, I can save for XYZ. So the tactical comes after the mindset. There's no way around it.
I love it because you're giving them the blueprint how to be able to work through it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like what you said. When you came to the US, you could have just said, you know what? I don't have no family here. I don't have no friends here. I'm starting over basically from scratch.
yep,
I
yep,
can give up, but you chose that that was not going to be your path.
yeah.
So,
I
how
knew
can the
this.
viewers stay connected with you?
I am very active on Instagram, and I'm at the Kenyan CEO. That's at TheKenyan CEO is my Instagram handle.
I love it. Is there any closing remarks that you would like to share with our audience?
Um, I just want to, the whole topic, the whole premise of this is what's your excuse? Why do you even allow yourself to make excuses? I want just everyone to take stock of the journey I've shared, which is just a small tidbit of what I have had to endure in this country. But just take stock of everything I've shared so far and just ask yourself, what is it that you're allowing to be your excuse? I didn't
Mm,
allow being in a new country. I didn't allow being a foreigner. I didn't allow having to learn American English versus the Queen's English to stop me from being where I am. So, what
amen.
is your excuse? I just want you to really think hard about that.
Dianne, I just wanted to tell you thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing and seeing more from you at the Seven Figure Boss Summit. You are definitely inspiring. Hopefully, it'll be a way for us to be able to help you on your missionaries over back in Kenya. Would definitely love that. But
Absolutely.
until then,
Yeah.
girl, we'll see you. The Kenyan CEO on Instagram. You guys make sure you follow her. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So make sure if you guys have not done so already, that you all are subscribing to the Seven Figure Boss podcast. Also, guess what? We only got one more day left before you guys will have those prices going up. So if you have not done so already, make sure that you snatch your ticket to the Seven Figure Boss Summit. And if you just cannot make it there in person, guess what? I set it up for you so you can come and see us virtually for free. That's right. I said for free for 2 days, a virtual conference. And I would love to see you all there. Until then, always make sure you go out and make $1 million choices. Have a great day and stay tuned for Dr. Karen Reynolds.